You are standing behind the glass, watching white snowflakes cover the ground. Outside, the wind howls in gusts, and the temperature is dropping to freezing levels. You feel lucky to be indoors, sheltered by four walls. But be careful. That very false sense of security could be your final mistake. In the most severe blizzards in human history, statistics always point to a brutal truth. The number of people who die right inside their own homes is often much higher than those trapped outdoors. A blizzard does not just kill through direct cold. It kills through ignorance, through invisible traps we create for ourselves while trying to survive. You and I, we need to look directly at these risks before it is too late. The first threat, and also the most dangerous enemy, is the silent killer, carbon monoxide, CO, gas. When the national power grid collapses under the weight of the ice, our natural reflex is to find any way to stay warm. But this is exactly when the tragedy begins. Using gasoline-powered generators, charcoal grills, or gas stoves right inside enclosed spaces like a living room or basement is a death warrant signed by ignorance. CO gas is colorless, odorless, and tasteless. It creeps into the lungs, clings to the hemoglobin in the blood, and blocks the transport of oxygen to the brain and heart. You will feel no pain. You will only feel sleepy, a gentle drowsiness amidst the cold. And then, you will never wake up again. The solution to this problem is not simply not using them, but using them correctly. If you use a generator, it must be placed at least 6 meters, 20 feet away from the house, and absolutely never near windows or vents. More importantly, every family in blizzard-prone areas must be equipped with at least one battery-operated CO alarm. Never trust your sense of smell. Trust technology. If you feel a headache, dizziness, or nausea while using heating devices, immediately open the door and run outside, even if there is a blizzard out there. Better to endure the cold than to stop breathing. Second, let's talk about an activity that seems harmless, but is a leading cause of death for middle-aged men in winter. Shoveling snow. You see snow piling up at the door and worry about being isolated, so you grab a shovel and go outside. However, the combination of low temperatures and sudden exertion is a perfect recipe for a heart attack. When it is cold, our blood vessels constrict to retain heat, causing blood pressure to rise. Shoveling heavy blocks of snow, especially wet snow containing a lot of water, creates enormous pressure on the cardiovascular system. Your heart has to work twice as hard under limited oxygen conditions. To survive this task, I advise you to listen to your body. Do not wait until you feel chest pain to stop. Shovel a little at a time. Use small shovels or snowblowers if possible. And a golden rule: absolutely no caffeine or smoking before shoveling snow, as they increase heart rate and constrict blood vessels, pushing you closer to the brink of a stroke. If you have a history of heart disease, leave that snow until the storm passes, or ask someone younger for help. The cleanliness of the walkway is not worth your life. Third, fire during a blizzard is another heartbreaking paradox. You think that with tons of snow around the house, fire is not an issue? On the contrary, winter is the season of the most catastrophic house fires. When we use old electric heaters or place them too close to curtains or sofas, just one small spark is enough to burn everything down. More dangerously, in blizzard conditions, roads are blocked and fire trucks cannot reach your home in time. Fire hydrants may be frozen or buried under thick layers of snow. You are completely alone in the fight against fire. Therefore, establish a safety corridor around heating devices, at least 1 meter. Absolutely do not leave candles burning when going to sleep. Replace them with LED flashlights. Check power cords for wear or overloading. And always ensure that you have at least one functioning fire extinguisher in the house. Remember, in a blizzard, fire prevention is not just about protecting property, but about protecting your only chance of survival, because rescue will not come. Fourth, another often overlooked risk is structural collapse. Snow looks as light as feathers, but when it accumulates, it has the weight of tons of concrete. 1 cubic meter of wet snow can weigh up to 400 to 500 kilograms. If your roof is not designed to handle heavy loads, or if it is an old structure, it can collapse at any time, crushing everything beneath. Warning signs are often cracking sounds from the ceiling, or doors getting stuck because the house frame is deformed. If you notice these signs, move to a safer area of the house or prepare to evacuate if possible. Cleaning the roof is necessary, but do it using roof rakes from a distance instead of climbing onto a slippery roof in the middle of a storm. Fifth, besides physical hazards, we need to face another silent enemy: hypothermia right inside the house. Many people mistakenly believe that they only suffer from hypothermia when outdoors. In reality, if the house loses power and the room temperature drops below 15 degrees Celsius, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, for a long period, the elderly and young children can fall into a state of hypothermia without even knowing it. The body will start shivering, followed by confusion, disorientation, and eventually organ failure. The solution here is the isolation technique. Do not try to heat the entire house if you do not have enough resources. Choose the smallest room with the fewest windows and gather everyone there. Use tape, towels, or blankets to seal door gaps and prevent drafts. Wear many layers of thin clothing instead of one thick layer to trap warm air between the fabric layers. And most importantly, maintain energy. Your body needs calories to generate heat. Eat foods high in fat and starch and drink warm water. Stay away from alcohol, because although alcohol creates a temporary feeling of warmth, it actually dilates peripheral blood vessels and causes the body to lose heat faster. Finally, there is the issue of logistics and psychological preparation. A blizzard can last for many days, even weeks if the infrastructure is heavily damaged. Panic will kill you before the cold does. You need to have a stock of dry food that does not require cooking, at least for 72 hours, but preferably for 2 weeks. Do not forget to store water, as pipes can freeze and burst. Let the faucets drip slightly to prevent total freezing inside the pipes. A calm mind, careful preparation, and scientific knowledge are the strongest armor to help you and your family overcome nature's wrath. In summary, a blizzard is a harsh test of human adaptability and caution. Do not let your home, your fortress, turn into a trap due to complacency. Check the CO alarms, be careful with every shovel of snow, and stay warm intelligently. Nature has no compassion, but humans have the intelligence to survive. To supplement this system of solutions, we cannot ignore first aid skills. If you see someone in the house start slurring their speech, their limbs stiffen, and they stop shivering despite being very cold, those are signs of severe hypothermia. Absolutely do not give them a hot bath immediately or rub their limbs, as this can cause heat shock or tissue damage. Warm the core area of the body, chest, abdomen, neck, with warm blankets or skin-to-skin contact. This is basic survival knowledge, but often forgotten in moments of confusion. Remember that blizzards do not distinguish between borders. Whether you are in the mountains of North America, modern cities in Northern Europe, or the cold regions of East Asia, these physical and biological principles apply equally. Preparation is never redundant. An emergency kit with backup batteries, a hand crank radio, and a first aid kit is an inseparable item for every global citizen in this 21st century of volatile weather.